What are we going to do about it is the ancient question, and it would be to stop burning fossil fuels.
The first 6 months of the Trump administration, we've seen an end to some of the federal efforts.
I'm a big fan of this, everybody.
Oh, yeah?
The U.S. Constitution.
Okay, guys, I'm actually pretty excited as we have my childhood icon, Bill Nye, on CNN to discuss the 3 once-in-a-lifetime floods we've now seen happen in the span of a week and how climate change could be to blame for that. So if you can, leave us a like on the video. It helps us out. It lets us know you enjoy the content. And let's get right into the discussion.
You keep hearing once in a lifetime, once in 100 years, once in 1,000 years. At this point, it's not anymore. It's just where we are with the climate and the environment.
Oh, that's, as we like to say, our side of it, the science side of it. This is exactly what was predicted. It's very difficult to tie any one weather event to climate change. However, the warm weather events are actually easier to tie to climate change. And so the other problem that happened in the hill country in Texas is this business of the Balcony escarpment, where the air mass got lifted, so it spread out and the rain came down even faster. But it'll happen again, to your point, and everybody's talked about this for years, and the technologies for warning systems exist.
Now, quickly, the warm weather events are only easier to connect to climate change because of the direct link you can tie to global warming, rising temperatures, of which is a primary sign of climate change globally, and it can be measured against climate models without human influence to predict the increase in probability of these kinds of disasters, of which this increase in both occurrence and in severity is exactly what climate change has long been predicting because of human interference, which is why Democrats have long wanted to get out in front of this with green new energy infrastructure, of which Republicans have fought tooth and nail every step of the way to prevent. For instance, Biden signed billions into law in his infrastructure bill to address this exact type of flooding. Texas was holding this money rather than allowing those projects to go through because of these insane conspiracies that MAGA and Trump pushes.
So, a lot of water going that fast. So, what are we going to do about it is the ancient question, and it would be to stop burning fossil fuels. When you're in a hole, stop digging, and so on. But the fossil fuel industry has been very successful in getting organizations like the U.S. Congress to think that it's really not happening.
Well, and the first 6 months of the Trump administration, we've seen an end to some of the federal efforts on not just fossil fuel, but other efforts that had been in place government-wide to promote alternative energy.
Yes, to be the world leader, to have the U.S. lead the world in renewable energy sources, so that we would be able to export our technologies, that people would want to come to the U.S. to learn how to do this stuff and so on. So the opportunities still exist.
It really is the only way, and the longer we prolong fully committing to this transition to green new energy on a strict time schedule, it's only more damage that we're allowing to happen and more of these disasters we're enabling or that could possibly occur. At this point, we know for a fact climate change is real. Like, that was the debate for a while. We know that it has significant effects, and we know that the human contribution to it is massive. Why are we still allowing capitalism, quite literally the profit motive, to dissuade us from doing what is clearly right? That is the only argument against the science. And at that, the long-term economic benefit would be to do this because we would have the opportunity, as he said, to take head of the global stage on this, create a new billions of dollars in revenue from exports and tons of jobs from it that then would create money in the economy as well. But of course, big oil controls the Republican Party, so we'll never see this happen. I mean, you have Trump literally telling oil executives to raise $1 billion and he'll let them decide his policy.
I'm a big fan of this, everybody.
Oh, yeah?
The U.S. Constitution, Article 1, I like to show this to people, Article 1, Section 8. Article 1 is the legislative branch, Congress. Section 8 is the miscellany, letters of marque about piracy, and the progress of science and useful arts. The word science is in the U.S. Constitution.
Guess what? We even have a graphic made so that the people at home can read
good.
that small
that's
print,
good.
so you can read it again.
But I mention it because these guys in 1787 realized the value of science. for our health, our welfare, and our international competitiveness. It's not a new idea. And so to set science aside is not in anyone's best interest.
It really can't be overstated how science is the most important thing to everyday life that is often overlooked, partly because of like the nerd stigma that kind of goes with it, which rightfully so, probably. I'm pretty nerdy. I'm into science. And also because a lot of powerful enemies fight against it in both religion and capital. Religion because science often disproves religious claims. So there's like a blood feud there. And capital because the conclusions that science come to often can hinder their profit margins, right? Like the veracity of vaccines and stopping illness, preventing money flooding into scam cures, right? Or that climate change is real, shooting down a multi-trillion-dollar industry in fossil fuels. Where if they can get just enough people to value it, not really value it, I should say, like they have largely been successful in doing, they can then get away with things that are objectively harmful to us, to our environment, and to our way of life because, well, it economically makes sense.